Hello and welcome to Man's Model Moments. So back at the beginning of the year in Airfix's announcements for 2024, they announced a couple of new World War II fighter starter sets, the Bf-109 and the P-51D. The latter was a little confusing to my mind, given that Airfix already have a P-51D starter set, tooled not too long ago in 2012 and currently boxed as the RAF Mustang IV. If you've not seen my videos on Airfix's 2024 range and my thoughts on those, I'll link them here. Now, as with books, a model shouldn't just be judged by its title and outer sleeve, but by the contents it holds. As such, I'm going to show you the 2024 Airfix P-51D Starter Set, side by side with the current boxing of the 2012 tool as the RAF Mustang IV. They are both the same airframe, they are both starter sets priced identically, so let's have a look inside to see what you're getting. So first of all, let's have a look at the older kit. Of course, you have the paint and decal guide on the reverse of the box. Normal Airfix instructions here. Decals, I'll show these side by side later. Our brush. Starter paints, some poly cement. Then we have our single bag containing the kit, which is what we're primarily interested in here. We'll come back to this in a moment. Now here we have the new P-51D. A slightly simpler camouflage scheme, as a lot of the American ones were. We of course have the same starter set components, just different coloured paints. Decals. Instruction sheet, and we do have an additional quick start guide here. And then the new plastic. Let's get these unbagged and compare them. So here we have the two sets of frames, and the first thing about the new ones is there's no protective runner around the outside, which I don't like at all. Here you can see the 2012 frame has the external runner, but the 2024 frame has parts exposed. On the actual plastic, the new kit has flaps moulded as part of the wing, but otherwise the detail between the two seems absolutely identical. The same engraved detail for panels, rivets and so on. The wing pylons on the new kit are also moulded as part of the lower wing, as are the main undercarriage doors. Moving to the upper wing, in the new kit the two are moulded as a single piece. Now you only get 2 sprues in the 2012 kit, whereas you do get 3 in the new kit because you also get the new shadow stand. Comparing the cockpit tubs, the two are practically identical. Propellers are likewise exactly the same. Moving to the fuselage interior, there is pretty much identical detail here again. both in the area where the pilot sits and behind. The fuselage halves are almost identical too, with the new kit having a moulded-in blanking plate for the lower air intake. The other thing to note here is that this is also true of the instrument panel. There is no separate piece here. In what you may be detecting as a pattern, the horizontal stabilizers are also indistinguishable. The transparencies, however, are different, as the new kit has a single all-in-one canopy rather than the multi-piece dual option parts in the 2012 tooling. Here's that shadow stand, which is a nice touch, but more on this later. Here are the two decal sheets side by side, and I have to say I personally prefer the RAF one, which is also larger, containing 16 decals versus the new 12, and importantly includes an instrument panel decal that the new kit does not. In close-up here you can see the virtually identical detail levels on the wings, and also the difference in moulded doors versus separate. You can see the shallower scallop on the old wing because of the lack of the moulded on flaps in the new kit too. You can also see the cast-in racks on the wings, which basically means the kit gives you far less by the way of options. And remember, these kits are exactly the same price. Let's take a look at what a lot of people talk about in kits, the pilot. Here the new pilot seems to have been on a crash diet and looks very generic, whereas I rather like the 2012 version with its prominent oxygen mask. You can also see the 2012 version has the instrument panel here. Whereas the new kit just has this moulded into both halves of the body, with that inset moulded into the pilot-facing side. This would of course be more acceptable if this was going to be covered by a decal, but it's not. Here are those two fuselage inserts for the cockpit again, and you can see in close-up there's nothing between them. The only thing that the new one has improved is that there are a couple of ejector pin marks of the 2012 tooling, though as these are out of sight within the fuselage, they're irrelevant anyway. The detail in other areas of the cockpit is absolutely identical. Here are the two fuselage halves in close-up, and though the lighter plastic of the 2012 tooling makes it harder to pick out the detail, I can assure you that both replicate the detail one-to-one between each other. The only areas this isn't true are in the canopy rim and rudder, both of which are separate parts in the 2012 kit. This parity can also be seen in small detail parts like the wheels here, which are great in both kits, because they're basically the same. Now at this point of the video, I just want to thank all of my Patreon and YouTube channel members. I mentioned that I was going to put this mid-roll in future videos in my prior video on this, and I had to add a few more names onto the list since then, so thank you so much to all of you. Your help at this time is very much appreciated. If you are able to become a channel member, it really does contribute a huge amount to me being able to keep the channel going, and at the moment it's my preferred platform for support. Now both kits give you the option for a raised and lowered undercarriage, but there are differences. Firstly, the 2012 kit supplies separate main bay doors, with instructions as to the correct angle to set them at. In the new kit, you have no such option. As the bay doors are moulded into the wing, they have to remain there. The new kit also has no retraction option for the tail wheel, meaning it's out whatever the main gear is doing, which is just wrong. Here are the two instructions on the transparency. The new kit has the one-piece click-lock canopy that I know some people like, but it doesn't allow you any options. The 2012 tooling gives you all the options you like, so you can pose it open or shut, and hence with or without the pilot very easily. Again, the 2012 tool and the option to put those racks on if you'd like, or leave them off. Going back to the 2012 tooling, we have options for the flaps and the radiator cooling flap. No such options exist on the new kit. The 2012 tool also has better cockpit options, with both instrument panel and gun sight absent in the new kit. It also has a separate radiator piece, which is replaced by a moulded-in backing plate in the new kit. It also references a separate stand which I don't think is available anymore. Here's that much simpler cockpit and radiator layout in the new kit. After looking at this kit, I'm just left with one question. Why? The existing P-51D kit is pretty nice. It's a simple enough build, but gives plenty of options for a beginner modeller to attempt this kit more than once and improve each time. The lack of a stand is out of step with the most modern starter kits from Airfix, but that is the only disadvantage I see in the 2012 kit. Indeed, putting the two kits side by side and asking which was the newer tool, if I didn't know better, I'd have said the 2012 kit. The lack of side runners to protect the components in the new kit is very old-fashioned Airfix, and I really dislike it. What I do see from the kit is a real dumbing down of the whole experience. There are compromises that I think are a step too far. The lack of an instrument panel, not even a decal, and control column for a start. And if this is all for a shadow stand, then I see this as a retrograde step. The build of the new kit will be slightly easier than the old one, but only marginally, and it's a one-trick pony. You build this once and that's it. You'll never need or want to build it again. Rather than a starter set, I'd call this an absolute beginner's kit. My first kit, maybe. Now, I am absolutely for bringing new modellers into the hobby, but I don't think this was the right choice. The Mustang is, after all, the third most tooled aircraft in 1/72nd scale, after the Spitfire and Bf-109. With such a recent tooling of the kit, I don't know why Airfix chose the P-51 for this treatment. Why not the P-47, which is a far less tooled aircraft, being created in styrene just 28 times compared to the Mustang's 73? Airfix have tooled the P-47 just once, in 1966, being last released in 2009 as a starter kit, a practice that gave Airfix a bad name, and the new starter sets were really designed to help combat. The P-47 was a far more robust ground attack platform, and so used much more in D-Day for fighter-bomber sorties, which would tie in with the upcoming anniversary. The other point here is that Airfix have spent money tooling a completely new P-51 that is essentially the same, but simpler than the last one. There are no advantages in terms of detail or options, in fact the latter have been decimated, and all you're getting in return is a shadow stand. Why didn't Airfix think a little bit outside the box here and do something like tool a set of shadow stands for use with 1/72nd scale kits? They're a great idea, and you could sell them to anyone, even people who have built kits already and from other manufacturers. You could have sets like World War II RAF fighters, USAF World War II fighters, US Cold War jets, and so on. You could sell them individually or in packs, so if someone has 10 Spitfires, they can mount them all. You could tart up their older starter sets with new shadow stands and upgraded instructions too. Instead of that, we got something that has been tooled 72 times before, has been tooled by Airfix themselves 12 years ago, and packaged as a starter set last year. Doing this took money away from getting something else done instead, like creating a P-47 or P-39 for instance. For me, it's a complete miss. And bear in mind, I praised their F-35 starter set, so this isn't not seeing what they're doing, it's just thinking it's a poor choice from both a modelling and a commercial and strategic point of view. It's not that it's a bad idea or even particularly bad execution, it's just a bit pointless. That's all for this instalment of Man's Model Moments. If you enjoyed the video, please click the like button, subscribe to the channel for more like it, and share this video with others you think would also enjoy it. You can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook, and if you're feeling generous then I also have a Patreon, which is absolutely the best way of helping me to grow the channel and produce more content like this. With that, I hope you have plenty of modelling moments of your own, and I look forward to welcoming you on the next video.